Ladies and gentlemen, I will read you an article from Fox Business pertaining to today's abysmal jobs report. U.S. hiring sharply misses expectations in April with just 266,000 new jobs added. Unemployment unexpectedly rose to 6.1%. How do Democrats take control and then unemployment rises? How does that happen? Unemployment was... We were with Trump. Not only did we have record low unemployment, so not only did he negotiate a deal to get Americans out of the longest running counterinsurgency conflict we've ever had, longest running military conflict we've ever had, which is exactly why I voted for President Trump. So he gives his voters if you vote for Trump for a specific reason, he'll give you either a negotiated deal, first president to step foot in North Korea, record low unemployment, a fantastic economy. He did those things. He allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever. What you heard about Trump, he called the horrible people fine people, that never happened. It never happened. He never stated that. He never called the pandemic a hoax. He never did any of those things. And all the achievements that he presided over are completely erased from history. In small part because of his Twitter account and the way certain things that he said, but those things were sensationalized and magnified. And Democrats and media blamed one person for what happened last year and what's still taking place. A horrible, horrible, unprecedented crisis that Democrats, unfortunately, Democratic-run states have the worst outcomes. And they also have the highest unemployment rates. And they have the highest per capita rates, according to the New York Times statistics. Greatest number of lives lost, according to the New York Times statistics. But here, we had the unemployment rate was lower during President Trump's it was actually decreasing, I should say. Now it's increased. How does that happen? How on earth does that happen? Hit subscribe to this channel right now if you want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you this. Where is it? Of course. Yes, right? Okay, so this is by Megan Henney, Fox News, for Fox Business. U.S. hiring sharply misses expectations in April with just 266,000 new jobs added. And now, an expected U.S. hiring boom crashed into a wall in April, with employers adding a measly 266,000 new jobs, sharply missing Wall Street's expectations amid a growing shortage of available workers. The unemployment rate unexpectedly rose to 6.1%. How do you have unemployment rising? The whole reason Biden was elected was to take over and rebuild this country and we have unemployment that is increasing. And it's funny because we had record low unemployment, record low Black and Latino unemployment under President Trump. Record low unemployment nationally. It wasn't good enough. The health of the overall economy from a macro perspective. It wasn't good enough. You know what? You never give Trump, never ever even give him, credit for any accomplishment. And in fact, it was really President Obama's economy. Now, what are they going to say now? They still, their policies don't work. We'll get to that in a second. You can't tank the entire United States economy and then say, we give you stimulus checks. You've tanked the economy. You have no choice but to do that. You're not doing anyone a favor by causing a self-induced near depression because of science, where Democratic-run states have the worst outcomes, where states like New York and New Jersey with draconian policies and governors, like God bless the people of New York and New Jersey, but the governors are the worst governors there, Phil Murphy and Andrew Cuomo, the worst governors of all time. And you have Texas and Florida doing much better. And other red states with far lower unemployment. And look at the numbers in terms of the New York Times statistics. lower number of lives lost because of the pandemic, and lower per capita rates. The top 4 highest per capita rates are in Democratic-run states. How on earth do you blame Trump for this? You have to be a complete imbecile to blame Trump for a health crisis that affected Democratic states the most. Anyway, the unemployment rate unexpectedly, and like I said, you tank your economy because of science, yet you still experience the worst outcomes, and you have the highest unemployment rates. Go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The highest unemployment, like the top 10, 12, 13 highest unemployment rates are in Democratic-run states. The lowest unemployment rates are in red states. The greatest number of lives lost, according to the New York Times, because of everything that's taken place the past year, blue states, not red states. Go to the New York Times statistics. The aggregate numbers will show you. And then I mean, we can go on forever, but there's this debate about socialism versus capitalism. There's a handful of socialist countries in the world. They all have poverty rates around 25%, 23%, and sometimes more than that. We have a poverty rate in the country of around 13%, 12, 13%, even now. It might be higher, but the capitalist societies have far lower poverty rates than the handful of countries that are claimed to be socialist countries. That's a fact. You can't refute that. The whole point when people say, well, I'm a democratic socialist, I'm a socialist, I'm a this and that, vote blue no matter who. The whole thing's a scam and a racket on the left anyway. I'm this, I'm that, let's focus on semantics and political theories, and it's like you're voting for Biden, you're voting blue no matter who. You are a Democrat. You are a Democrat who flirts sometimes with socialism or thinks that a purely socialist society would work out, not knowing that the purely socialist countries or countries that have engaged in socialism today and in the past have much higher poverty rates than capitalist countries. Much higher poverty rates. The poverty rate is important. That's the whole point of why people vote Democrat, or why people on the far left say, I'm going to be socialist. We want people we want poverty to be eliminated. We don't want poor people, but you get more poor people. And so the thing is, you need government spending, you need government policies. That's true. You have to have a functioning government. That doesn't, simply because you give money to a government policy, that's not socialism. See, socialism is an example of socialism. No, you're running a government. You have to have a government. But you want a capitalist, if you want a more capitalist society to ensure that you don't have the poverty rate of the handful of countries that are still socialist economies or socialist societies. Again, the proof is in history and the present day poverty rates. The poverty rates don't lie. And if you focus, if you put an emphasis on government replacing the private sector or businesses, you're going to have unemployment increase. You're going to have more poverty, not less. You're going to have a jobs report that misses expectations. And you're going to have eventually a society that has to deal now with inflation. Not because we have this booming economy, but because the stimulus checks combined with other factors relating to the economic rebound, might cause a problem with inflation. But unfortunately, that has nothing to do with this soaring economy. Anyway, the unemployment rate unexpectedly rose to 6.1%, while it's still well below the April 2020 peak of 14.7%. By the way, Democrats gleefully tanked their economies, blame Trump. Oh my God, look what we're doing. Oh my God, it didn't help. Did the lockdowns protect lives, save lives? Look at the numbers. The red states that didn't have draconian policies did much better. The numbers do not lie. anyway. And 80%, according to the CDC, 80% of all the lives lost were above 65, were ages 65 and older, 80%. Please explain how the lockdowns helped save lives when 80% of the lives lost were ages 65 and older. And then you had people losing their jobs, and you can go on forever, with people like Andrew Cuomo and Whitmer and Phil Murphy and Wolf and Newsom putting infected people into elderly care facilities. But here, economists surveyed expected the report to show that unemployment would fall to 5.8% and that the economy would add 978,000 jobs. So they were 700,000 jobs short. The number marks a significant drop from March's downward revised numbers of 775 and February's upward revised numbers of 536,000. Okay, there's still 8.2 million fewer jobs than there were last February, before the crisis began. Last February, who was president? We had 8.2 million more jobs with Trump. Gee, maybe you should have overlooked his Twitter account. And this economy is not Trump's fault. He wanted to open up the economy like a couple months after. Like it was in April and May, he was saying, let's just open up the economy already. Because a lot of the things that he was saying pertaining to the economy and everything going on were accurate, were prescient. But nobody, the entire planet, look, all you have to know is that Andrew Cuomo had a book out on leadership lessons. Leadership lessons. And this is a man who is the worst governor for a number of reasons. Presided over the epicenter, the absolute epicenter of this health crisis. But here you have 770. So this is interesting. Economists surveyed by Refinitiv expected the report to show that unemployment would fall to 5.8% and that the economy added 980,000 jobs. 978,000 jobs. So you have over 700,000 jobs that weren't added, that economists thought would be added. Gee, maybe you're rethinking your vote for Biden. Just maybe. Oh, I know, this is all Trump's fault. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I'll be back. Thank you.